So hello there, this is Michael again from Make It WordPress, and if you have seen one of my earlier videos, you know that I'm on the quest to find the best of WordPress, and one of these aspects is to find the best possible WordPress hosting. There are many very interesting providers for WordPress hosting, and today I'm going to look into WPCloud Deploy. So WPCloud Deploy allows you to run WordPress on your own servers. So you need to buy a VPS or a server at a server provider. And then the software from WPCloud Deploy makes it very easy to install and optimize WordPress installation on your own server. And you don't need all the technical knowledge of a system administrator, although it helps if you have experience with WordPress and a bit technical experience. So this is their main website, and they are actually having a very interesting approach, because what they do is that they provide a WordPress plugin which you can install on any WordPress installation, and through this plugin you can create new WordPress websites. So you can use this plugin to connect to servers and add WordPress installation to it. So it's creating WordPress using WordPress. Very interesting approach. So that may be a bit confusing, but I will show you in a moment how it looks like. So what you will see in this video is how this WPCloud Deploy actually works, what the plus points are, what you can do with it, what my own experience is with it, and I will just briefly show how you can use the plugin. So let's go ahead. Just scroll through the site and show a couple of the features they have. These are features which are often also used by many other providers, but as I explained before, WPCloud Deploy is used to install WordPress on your own servers, and the following 5 providers are supported: DigitalOcean, Linode, Vultr, Amazon, and Amazon Lightsail. There are pretty much nice features, which I will show also when we're using the plugin. Cloning sites, you can scale servers, there's a dashboard, sync servers, so there's a kind of high availability if one server goes down, and well, there are a couple of other nicely features which I think are basics for WordPress, such as having a good stack, which adds to the performance, access to your own servers, the backup functionality, SSL certificates, cloning, having as much servers as you want, and so forth. Briefly go into your pricing model. As you can see, this is the WPCloud Deploy is the plugin version. They also have a service called FireUp which is the SaaS version, which is a service, so you don't need to install a plugin on your own WordPress. To be able to have this plugin, the basic subscription is $149 a year, but only DigitalOcean is supported as a service provider, and there is some less support for other features as well. So with that having said, I have already set up a WordPress installation with the WPCloud Deploy plugin. So let's go there and see how it looks like. So there we are. This is a WordPress installation. As I mentioned before, WPCloud Deploy is a plugin, and this plugin allows you to run your own WordPress hosting business with a provider of your choice. So if I go to the plugins, if I would be a customer of WPCloud Deploy, I get access to several of their plugin files, and to be able to run WPCloud Deploy, you just need to install the plugins. And as you can see here, I installed the WPCloud Deploy plugin, and also an extension to enable Vultr, which is another VPS provider, as a possibility. And furthermore, there's a server sync add-on, which I will explain later. So what does WPCloud Deploy actually add to your WordPress file? As you can see, there's a new menu item. And in here, you can add actual servers, but to be able to add servers, you still need to connect the correct provider in there. And that is done through settings, cloud providers. In here, you have two cloud providers. There's the Ocean and Vultr. And you can add your Vultr API key in here and also add your SSH keys. So everything is managed from this dashboard. And by doing this, WPCloud Deploy, or actually this plugin installed on your own Wordpress installation, can add servers and also applications. So whether you get the API key if you're using Vultr, I will just show you that. So if you log in to Vultr, you go to account, and then API, you will find the API key. Furthermore, what you need to do to be able to make WPCloud Deploy able to add websites to Vultr is that you add the IP address of the server where you're installed the WPCloud plugin. So that allows WPCloud plugin to communicate with Vultr and add new servers. So let's go back to the WordPress environment. And there we are back in our panel. As you can see, I already set up a new cloud server. Provision a new server is pretty easy. I have only Vultr set up as a provider, so I can only select here. I can choose the location and where I like the subscription, and I give the server name and just hit start, and then it'll take around 10 to 15 minutes, and this new server will be automatically added. And if you go back to your Vultr account, you also will see that there would be a new server added, but I already did it for the sake of this walkthrough. So we can just go back to our cloud servers, and as you can see, I added a sample server here. It's pretty interesting to see that you can do these actually complicated things just through WordPress. It gives a bit of a weird expression because I'm not used to it. You may like this interface, you may not like it actually. But so if you click a server, you have the following screens in which you can see the services running on the server, such as Nginx, the database, the memcache. There's also a firewall installed by default. You can also put a server in a category. It works similar as the WordPress categories, and you can add them here under server groups, and the same functionality is there for applications. You can put them in app groups. In here, there's also the firewall management utility in which you can open or close certain ports of your server and enhance security. And at last, because I have installed the server sync feature, you can, I don't have another server, but if you would have multiple servers, you could sync this server to another server and use that as a backup functionality. If one server goes down, you can point your domain to the other server and it still will be available. So this is pretty great for a high availability setup. That having said, this is basically the server overview. There's not that much in it. Let's go and create a new WordPress website. So you would be thinking that you could do it in this screen actually, but you need to do it from the server screen. So let's go back to our cloud servers. And as you can see here, there's the button server action, and you can just install WordPress here. I've already pointed a domain at this IP, and I'll just enter some details. I want the latest version of WordPress, and let's hit install. So in this interface of WP Cloud is a nice console. There's not that much information in it, but during installing WordPress, you will see this console. In my opinion, it would be nice if you could have some kind of loading spinner or some loading animation. It would be a little bit more information. I think it also takes quite some time to just install WordPress. And there we are, WordPress is installed. Amazing. So if you now go back to the application tab, there we are. We have WordPress, a new WordPress website. And don't you find it funny that we just use WordPress as a hosting panel and connected it to a Vultr, a service provider, and then just can use it to add new WordPress websites. For example, if I would be going to this address, I will just open a new tab. And you can see there is a freshly installed WordPress just there. That's what we just did. It's running on our own domain. Amazing. And we're using WordPress to add a new WordPress website. There's a catch in that. So let's go back to the actual panel for managing WordPress websites. And there we are in our panel again. As you can see, there are a couple of details in this platform, the IP of the server, which provider, and also if SSL is installed, the domain that is used, and also the user and the WP version. So what will you see if you just go into this panel? So here you are. This is quite some number of tabs. Similar to servers, you can put your WordPress installation, which is called an app, into an app group of related applications, which helps to filter out a website if you have quite so many of them. What I really like of this WPCloud Deploy platform is that most of the important features are already in there in the interface. Of feature-wise, it's really nice. Now, I think the interface of WordPress is kind of limiting the usability and the experience you have, and it is a bit better on the SaaS version. That version I will show in a moment. But let's go ahead and see a couple of these tabs. There's a backup and restore function, and if you put your AWS S3 credentials in here, you can set up backups. You can put up automatic scheduled backups on a schedule of your liking, restore backups, and also do manual backups. And of course, set up the redemption date, and for it's pretty nice. Gives some extra security on your WordPress website. If things go wrong, edits go wrong, you can just have a backup and restore it from this panel. Furthermore, in here is the SSL function. It can also be enabled from the panel, and it's pretty easy. You can just hit the switch and SSL will be enabled. Again, it takes some time for SSL to be enabled. And there we are, SSL is now been enabled on this domain. There are some caching settings in here in which you can enable the page cache, which is basically content cache, and the object caching of the website, which can cache common queries. So from a basic level, there are also some good caching mechanisms in place, and I've also tested these caching mechanisms, and I think performance-wise, WP Cloud Panel is doing pretty well. It sets up your WordPress website for performance. It's a little bit slower than a couple of the other control panels out there, such as GridPane and SpinUp WP. There is also an FTP tab in which you can add FTP users and easily use an FTP program to extra websites. You can clone websites, so clone this website on, and it will be copied to the same server. It's very useful if you want to have a temporary staging website and copy changes back and forth. You can also copy it to another server. One thing I think is also really a place that there's a cron job manager inside the panel. And as you know, cron jobs are regular jobs that need to take place daily or hourly. And how WordPress usually works is that these cron jobs are only executed if someone actually visits your website. So if you have not any visitors, but still depend on these daily cron jobs, they will not be executed. And in this step, you can set up to execute them from the server, which is a much better approach. So it can just be done with a switch. It's pretty nice. There we are. It's enabled. Very cool. Furthermore, you can change the PHP version, which will default to the newest PHP version. Also restart the PHP FPM service and change some of the common variables, such as the upload size, the execution limit, which sometimes is needed if you want to upload a big theme or a big file. And so forth. There's also a danger zone in which you can customly change any of the PHP configuration files, which are usually found in php.ini. As you can see in the languaging and so forth, this is pretty technical, and that's also what I think WPCloud Deploy is aimed at professionals who want to set up their own hosting business, are familiar with PHP, are familiar with WordPress, but want to host their own panel on their own infrastructure instead of relying on a panel that is hosted by a certain company. Still, you are dependent on the plugin, but it's pretty nice that you can have your own panel on your own infrastructure on your own hosting. Furthermore, you can change the domain to another domain, and also this will change the records in the database. And as you can know, WordPress saves files, WordPress has links within its content, and if you go to a new domain, these links also need to be changed, and it does that. Very nice that this tool is just built in. Miscellaneous, there are a couple of other options such as HTTP authentications. You can disable a website, remove the website, and enforce HTTPS redirect. So every content, every image, every file is served over HTTPS, making the site completely secure. We have some tools as well. You can enable debug logs, which you can then access by going to the WP content folder. You can add another administrator might you lose access to the website. Add some rules for easy digital downloads. You actually need to be aware of what these rules are and probably look up the configuration or the documentation of WPCloud and easy digital downloads to make this pretty thing work. Furthermore, you can install PHP admin in your server and then use that to manage your WordPress database. Right. There is also a web application firewall. So what WPCloud Deploy does, it installs a firewall on two levels. First, it installs a firewall on server level, and furthermore, you have the possibility to enable a firewall on application level, which is one stage further. And this is a great thing which enhances the security. The funny thing is, if you use this platform or use this plugin and install it on a WordPress installation, you need to make sure that that WordPress installation is pretty safe. And you need to be able to install one custom WordPress installation, because you cannot use this plugin to install WordPress installation on which you can install this plugin. Fair enough. Maybe it's a bit confusing, but you need to already be able to set up a WordPress installation if you're going to use this plugin. So you already need to have some kind of hosting. Funny enough, but I think it's good that this extra safety measure is in there, but if you're using the plugin, you need to make sure that your WordPress, where this plugin is running, it's really secure. Use tight authentication, use two-factor authentication, always up to date and monitored. And at last, there are some statistics on the disk usage and some general statistics on the use of your server, which can be viewed here. So in here, this is some basic data. It's in the table. It's not that interesting. I think would be nice if it would be more visual. So this is basically the functionality that WPCloud Deploy offers. And I think if you're hosting many websites, have many servers, their pricing model is interesting. It's a bit steep because yeah, the full plugin costs $500 a year, and then you have access to multi-providers. You can have WordPress multi-site, a lot of other features, which is I think a bit more expensive than most of the control panels. But then you can have unlimited servers and unlimited WordPress installation, so that's a great thing. I think the product is also relatively new. Sometimes it feels some things could be designed a little better or a hint misses. But I can see its potential, and I find it pretty interesting that it's built by WordPress and used to host WordPress or create new hosted WordPress website with it. With that having said, there are a couple of other sections I just want to show you. You can have teams, and teams can be used to group users under, and a team you can give certain permissions, such as viewing, deleting, and so forth. So you could add new users just as you would do in a regular WordPress installation under the Users tab, and then put it in a team and decide on what kind of permissions you want to give this team. So that's in that way you can have collaboration on this platform, even work together with others. But in this feature could be also a bit extended and maybe give access to only one kind of server and so forth. Furthermore, you can assign this team, and that can be done actually with the team assignments feature, in which you can assign a team to a certain app, and then these permissions will apply to the team and the app. At last, there's a command log in which you can see all the things that are done in SSH log. By the way, the permission list indicates all the permissions that teams have. You can see what is done through SSH. If you enable the error logs will also display in here, but because it's fresh installation, no error show. The error logs were also disabled. Unless there is the general settings thing in which you can add the details for your cloud providers. You can change the display of some of the fields in the server and app overview. The FAQ is not that elaborate still. That's also a thing if you host this plugin on your own infrastructure. It's a bit, I think you have support, but it's not really clear where you can get support. And you can always get support at WPCloud Deploy. But it's not directly from the panel, which many of the other panels support email or live chat or support directly from this channel. And furthermore, you can enable logging and tracing in here and set some rules for that. So I'm really curious what you think about this approach. I think it's fresh, it's new, and feature-wise, it's really nice. In terms of usability, we may want to see some improvements. May also have to do with how the default interface of WordPress looks like. I just want to show you one server WPCloud Deploy, you need to install the plugin on your own website, but they also have a managed instance where they manage this whole process for you, and it's called FireUp-WP. So this is actually the dashboard of FireUp-WP, and it's the same functionality as I had shown before in this video, but then on their infrastructure. So it's the software as a service, the SaaS. And as you can see, you have all the similar settings as I've shown here before. You have the cloud server. I didn't connect the server, by the way, in this panel, but you have all the similar things, and it's just the design is just somewhat more neat. Besides overview, you have the themes again, all these things, the general settings, which is quite similar to what we've seen before, but it's now just managed by them, and that also makes it, in my opinion, easier to be in contact with support. And the great thing is that they have already a subscription from $1 a month, which enables you to do a couple of things. I will also put the link to both of these websites, to WPCloud Deploy and FireUp-WP, in the website. You can also check it out yourself. By the way, feature-wise, it's totally similar, only this is subscription-based, so you pay for servers, and for WPCloud Deploy, you pay for using the plugin, and then you have to manage the plugin yourself. So, yeah. So to summarize everything, WPCloud Deploy and FireUp-WP is a new approach to having your own WordPress hosting panel. It uses a WordPress plugin which you can install by yourself, or you can use their managed servers. And from this panel, you connect it to a VPS provider, either DigitalOcean, Vultr, Linode, or Amazon. And once it's connected, you can easily add WordPress websites, and you have all the necessary tools there, such as cloning, backups, SSL, a theme manager, changing the domains, and so forth. I think this is a promising service, and I'm looking forward to how it will develop. Please feel free to have any comments, any questions, any remarks below, and let's continue this quest on finding the best way to host WordPress. Thank you for watching.